All right, we're back another Sunday on our Black Media Network. I'm Dr. Robert Bryant. We're here with the political spectrum, and we have a guest today, Dante. And so, if we could today on our first 10, what we do on this show, Sean, is we have our first 10 minutes. We just talk about random political issues around the world. So, in our first 10, if we could introduce ourselves and in our first 10, let's start with tell people why it's important to vote. Why is it important to vote? And so, Chandra, tell us who you are and why it's important to vote.
My name is Chandra Smith McKeithen. I'm in Houston, Texas. I um, I work at NASA, um, and it's very important to vote, no matter what side you vote for, so that you can have a voice. That is the way democracy works. You cannot have a voice in your barbershop and beauty salon. Black people.
All right, Dante, tell us who you are and why it's important to vote. I mean, Chandra doesn't know us; the viewing audience knows you, but if you would, please.
Hi, so my name is Dante Thompson. I work at a law firm. That's my full-time job. On the activist side, I am part of the Georgia Young Republicans, also part of the Black Conservative Federation, well, state director for the Black Conservative Federation. It's important to vote, just as Chandra said. To make your voices be heard, do your research on the candidate. It's very important to vote at the local level, not just the general election. So when I say local level, I mean like your sheriff, your councilman, people, judges, people that can really make some decisions that can impact you. The president election is also important as well, but try to get active, always voting anytime there's a special election, runoff, anytime you hear election, you need to make sure you register to vote. If you if you move addresses, please make sure that you update that as soon as possible and not wait to the last minute. Unfortunately, that's what hurts some of our community because we wait to the last minute instead of getting ahead of it. So it's best to go ahead and get ahead of it, find out where you're supposed to go, register to vote. I always try to go drive a day ahead just so I can get a feel of what's going on, especially if I move. Waiting for the last minute, that you can forfeit your vote. But make sure you do your research on each candidate. Don't try to go off of talking points or people that you love to listen to. Do your own research and do what is best for your pocketbook and your family.
Beautiful, beautiful. One of the things that we're sure about voter education as well as presenting information. You all both stated the importance of voting, but also if you could tell us, tell the viewing audience how does it impact our community, and if we could really quickly, Chandra, you could answer that. Why is it voting important for the Black community?
Well, it's very important because let's just speak to Savannah right now and all of the gentrification that's going on right now. And if they had a voice in the first district, in the second district, where there used to be a lot, the majority of African Americans used to live in the first and the second district and the fifth. But now with all of the gentrification and them not, getting out to vote, decisions were made in back rooms and back doors all over Savannah. And because they have no voice, because they did not vote, and because they do not hold people accountable for their vote after they give it, now they're upset because they're like, well, why is scared taking over everything, and why can't I afford to live over here?
Right. Okay.
Because you did not vote.
Okay. And Dante, how do we? You said an important piece, Shonda. Dante, how do we hold our elected leaders accountable?
Oh, I mean, you they work for you. You go up to their office, you could write them a letter. I mean, they only have 2 years, 6 years to do what they're supposed to do. And if they have not met your standards, I mean, you can try to give them another shot or vote them out. I mean, that's your really those are your options right there. You have to stay active in this to really understand and cut through a lot of the BS that's going on. If you stay active in this and follow it, you can make wise decisions, and you can see how politicians vote and how they act, what they say when they talk to a news person versus what they actually vote on. I mean, you have to do your research. own research and be active in it, and don't wait to the last minute. A lot of people wait to the last minute to want to make decisions, then ask Grandma Pookie and everybody else, who should I go vote for? That's not helping the Black community. Helping the Black community by doing your own research and finding out what is best for our community.
Perfect. All right, y'all, we have a message here before we move into our main topic. And so we'll play this message. And when we play these messages, I want people to realize we're not endorsing any candidate. Every candidate running for office, every business in the area has an opportunity to advertise with our Black media. And if you want that information, leave it in the comments below. But we're not endorsing anyone. We're just playing because people have paid for these ads. So just want to make sure we put that out there.
Hello, I'm Richard Coleman, and I'm running for the office of Sheriff of Chatham County. And when I'm elected, I promise to inspect what I expect. Chatham County, it's time for a change, and that change is me, Richard Coleman.
All right, so we're back, and you all, our topic today, wow, it is going to be interesting going into November. We do know that President Biden has decided to step aside. And let me play this clip really quick, and then we'll move forward with our main topic today.
Good evening. We are living through history today. President Joe Biden dropped out of the 2024 race for the White House this afternoon, a decision never before seen in the United States. Fox 9's Corin Hoggard is following all the developments today and looking ahead as to what happens next here. Corin?
Yeah, Karen, what happens next is the incumbent and presumed nominee has bowed out, is that's never happened before. It's never happened in a race this close to the election. But there is some precedent here, and it does have major Minnesota connections. President Biden, of course, had the disastrous debate with Donald Trump last month, which set off a series of calls for him to leave the race. The 81-year-old had insisted he was in it to win it, but the pressure kept building, and he had a microscope on all of his public interviews and appearances since that debate. His decision today came as he was isolating in Delaware after a COVID diagnosis last week, so he was huddled with his close confidants and his family members. The president then immediately endorsed his vice president, Kamala Harris, to take over as the nominee, and she got quick support from a lot of Democratic insiders, including the Clintons and both Minnesota senators. But former President Obama is among those who stopped short of.
Well, and I will update everyone. President Obama, and Michelle have called Kamala and have fully endorsed her, as has former President Bush and a number of others who have been in leadership. And so, really quick for you all, people are wondering, and I want to make this comment, then we'll get into our discussion. People are saying, "Well, I wonder why he dropped out or he stepped aside." Well, he said it. You know, the pundits get on my damn nerves when they say, we don't understand why. He said it clearly. It's time for young people to lead. You know, we talk about neighborhood associations. We talk about people like who live in office until they're 105,000 years old. It is when it's time to pass the baton of leadership. And I wish a number of people would understand it. That's the damn why people want to know. But Chandra, we brought you on today. You are a Black woman. You are a sorority sister of Kamala Harris. What's your main reaction to now your sorority sister, Vice President Kamala Harris, being the nominee for the Democratic Party?
Well, it's not what, you know, I mean, I supported Biden, Harris against Donald Trump the last time, you know, and just for, you know, just pure, I want everybody to be clear on who I am. I'm a person that I vote, you know, y'all young, but I voted for Reagan. I voted for the first Bush. Okay. I've been a member of the young Republicans. Okay. So that's just, you know, because I feel like we should vote our needs. I don't vote whether, you know, I don't care whether you my sorority sister or frat brother or whatever. Van Johnson is an alpha. I can't stand him. Okay. So let's just go. We can put a pin right there, you know, but So if I did not feel, and there's a lot of other people in office right now that I do not feel I couldn't respect myself in the morning if I put my support behind them, because my name means a lot. My children look to me to give them guidance on, because I've been in this political field for so long. They look to me for guidance. My family looks to me for guidance. And if I'm only saying, oh, well, she's my sorority sister, and y'all vote for my sorority sister. No. And skin folk ain't kinfolk, folk, and you have to look at what your tax bracket is.
Mm-hmm.
And make your determination based on what their platform is, on who best supports what your values, morals, and needs are at this time. I own a small business. I'm Black. I have Black children, and because of all this, when the Republican Party started really changing, I love when they started, not taxing me as much, but when they started raising, when they started not looking out for me anymore as far as taxes was concerned. I run a business from my home. And when that could not be written off on my taxes anymore, that affected me, And then when just 5 weeks ago, I almost lost my daughter because she was pregnant. And she had a tubal pregnancy, and she needed they needed to get that child out of that tube, her fallopian tube. But they told her they could not touch her until it became a matter of life and death, even though a child cannot grow in your fallopian tubes. So this is how them taking the rights of women to choose for their own bodies has impacted people from state to state. And I could have lost my child 5 weeks ago. Wow. And this would have been a whole different conversation. So you have to vote what matters to you.
That's real. That's real. I like that you had some real life experiences, and thank you for being transparent, not only transparent, but vulnerable. Dante, what do you say to that? I think, I think one of the things that, Kamala Harris is running on is that abortion piece. And, that's going to be the Achilles heel. I mean, but what are your thoughts? What's your reaction to all of this?
I mean, so that news clip that you played, that was just a lot to digest, to be honest with you. So number one, the fact that, people are still asking the why question of why Biden dropped out. We keep trying to get past this question, but it's a very important question because at the end of the day, Biden should have known that he was eventually going to drop out. And even what's more assaulting to Black people, we should feel some type of way that he waited until it's late in this game, his poll numbers suck, and he wanted a Black woman to carry him to the end. And then if she loses, the Democratic Party is going to be mad at her. Now, I'm not saying that I'm supporting Kamala Harris, because at the end of the day, I do think that she knew exactly what was going on, and that was a cover-up. If Joe Biden did a very good job on that June 27th performance, he would not have dropped out. And I'm sorry, we keep teaching our young people, if you don't win, you drop out. Everybody gets a trophy. Anybody can be a man. I mean, what are we really teaching them? He ran in the primary. They changed the rules so the Democratic Party could not allow any other Democratic primary to go up against Joe Biden. And now all of a sudden he wants to drop out because some elite donor said, we're not going to give you any money anymore. And nobody wants to question that. No one's questioning if you can't run a campaign, how can you run the United States of America? Probably that's why Russia and China is just sending jets off in Alaska, because they say, oh, America, they ain't got no real leader over there. Biden hasn't even had a cabinet month a cabinet meeting in months, and no one is asking any questions about that. But since we're talking about Kamala Harris, let's talk about the Democratic Party that has lasted this long, after party I should call it, because it's about to come to an end once we get down to the real numbers. Because at the end of the day, when we look at the top issues that's on the American people's mind, as much as they hate Donald Trump, as much as y'all think they hate that orange man, he's still at the top for the economy. Right now, Virginia is the only battleground state where Kamala Harris is winning. All the other 7 battleground states, Trump is holding a lead. It is fair to say that Kamala Harris has caught up, but she's doing better than Biden, but she's still beneath Donald Trump. The next issue is immigration. Trump is leading there. Speaking of that, that's going to come back and haunt Kamala Harris. They can sit up there and try to change border czar. She was supposed to be designated of the root cause. Well, where's her root cause report? Because we haven't seen it. But you know what? We have felt it because all the people are coming into our country and into your communities, taking up your resources. And now they want to say, oh, it's a 50% plunge of no more immigrants coming to our country. What about the people that's already here? They ain't going to the rich white people neighborhood. They're going to go into the black and brown communities, taking up resources that we already don't have. And no one is questioning any of that.
Well, let me ask you a question, Dante.
Hold on for 1 second. We're not even talking about foreign policy. I mean, that's something serious right now. And no one's even questioning that. I mean, people are looking at we give Joe Biden credit.
I don't think we want to argue with Trump.
We can give Joe Biden credit on foreign policy, but one thing you all can't deny, and I even heard a news anchor say recently, what qualifications do Donald Trump has to be president? The fact that he was president. Like that, let's start from there. Regardless if you like him being president or not, he was president. And one thing you cannot take, speaking of foreign policy when it comes to Donald Trump, Putin didn't do any of this stuff when he was president.
Yeah, because he bought Trump.
You can sit there and say that they were having an orgy or all Trump. But guess what? Under President Bush, Putin invaded. Under Obama, Putin invaded. Under Biden, Putin invaded. Notice I skipped Trump. He didn't do that. People want to sit up there and make it seem like they had this orgy and fiasco stuff. No, ain't nobody want to mess with the orange man because they never knew what he was going to do. Because he's that crazy. Even I'm supporting him and I call him crazy. But at the end of the day, this darling honeymoon that the media is having with Kamala Harris is going to come to an end. And just because he's an AKA, that has nothing. I mean, I wish the media kind of stop doing that to make black people think that black people are going to vote for somebody just for a woman, black, or their AKA. Black people are smart enough
the beehive,
research and decide. Because it's not like all those people are going to flock to Harris. Some people are going to Kennedy. Y'all, people keep overlooking Kennedy.
But that's going to hurt Trump.
That's a wasted vote.
It is a wasted vote, but some people are still going to do it.
But
I don't control that. I don't tell people to go vote. Who to go vote for?
But I'm saying if anybody is supporting a third party person, whether it be Kennedy or what's that other guy's name with the weird hair?
Cornel West,
you're wasting your vote. You might as well vote for Kanye West or P. Diddy or anybody else because
not P. Diddy.
Because your vote is worthless. But what I want to know, see, where Donald Trump loses educated people, not these hillbillies, not the racist people, because he's going to have his base all day long. But where he loses educated people is that he will not stay on message. True. Tell me what you're going to do for me. Don't tell me about your first and second day in office. I'm going to be a dictator. See, because that scares me. But tell me how you're going to bring my $3.59 eggs back down to $1.19. Tell me how. And at this point, he has not had a substantial platform that speaks to the needs of the middle class people. I don't really care about the poor people don't vote. I mean, not vote. The poor people don't pay taxes. These taxes are on your and my back, Dante. If you in the 6-figure range, making anything over $100,000, you're carrying more of a tax burden than Gates, Donald Trump, Tim Scott, or any of them. Because they figure out ways not to pay taxes, and their taxes have been excluded if you make over $300,000 a year.
Well, and let me go back to something you said, because I got a call this week and they made a good point about, we're going to talk about platforms. So I got a call from a frat brother of mine, who's a brother of Alpha, and said, what's Kamala's platform? So y'all want me to just jump on her bandwagon because she's a black woman and she ain't telling me what we're going to do. And I said, well, I think she's going to carry Biden's platform. What's Biden's platform? So, I mean, I'm being real on that. I will be honest with you all. I'm voting for her because she's black.
No,
or whatever she going.
You shouldn't know.
Or what? I don't give a doggone
what the hell?
I'm voting for
what?
black.
I thought that you was
for me.
smarter than that.
But tell me, y'all, that's the question out there for a lot of voters.
She's been giving us her part of her platform every time she gets to the mic. For me, she's talking about middle class, making the tax burden easier on the middle class. I mean, they take almost $1,000 out of my paycheck every 2 weeks for taxes.
Yeah.
That don't include insurance. Every 2 weeks, y'all. That hurts. Then she's talking about, I want to protect women's rights. I'm a woman, but the one thing that she has not said, that because I'm going to vote for her and then I'm going to start sending her damn letters every month talking about, Dante, you think I won't, but I will. But because I'm going to start talking about the George Floyd policing bill. We need to have a total overhaul of the police departments, because policing was implemented right after slavery, just to capture, and pretty much enslave, during
that's exactly what it was. Yeah.
It has ingrained itself, and then you have these white supremacists and radical white supremacists that have infiltrated not only our police department, but our armies and everything that gives them the right to carry weapons. You see Sandra Massey, she's standing in her kitchen and blown right straight through the head.
Well, and I will say this: the financial systems need to be fixed. Reagan was a dumbass when he created that trickle down thing, and that trickle down foolishness. Y'all believe it, y'all. Whoever voted for Reagan, y'all need y'all head examined.
I did.
Why would I trickle down something that? Why would I give my money away, dum dums? Okay, that's the first one.
But because we thought that if
hold on. The second thing is the criminal justice system is not a criminal justice system. It's a capitalistic way to punish black folk and poor people. So let's be real about it. Both systems have got to be overhauled.
Yes. And I do not agree with Omar. What's his name? Omar Johnson.
Omar just needs some attention sometimes. Right now, I think I need some attention.
He's just sitting on a damn couch with his fat ass, telling.
All right, this ain't Tia and Netta.
Telling people, oh, well, you don't need to vote. Y'all need to sit out. Well, that will make it very easy for them to overlook you. If you don't vote, whether you vote Republican or you vote Democratic,
vote.
You need to vote. Don't listen to Omar Johnson, because he is a radical. And in America, the only way that your needs get met is for you to go to somebody's office and say, hey, I am a registered voter and I voted for you. And because of my vote, And because of your platform, you had a platform on, and that's why I was so pissed with Biden. Y'all remember? Not you, Dante. You probably don't remember. But I was pissed with Biden when y'all give us this Juneteenth. Don't give me no goddamn holiday. I need my rights protected. I need to know that when my son get into my Mercedes, he's not going to be blown away because some police officer here in Texas don't feel like he should be driving my car that I earn, that I pay for, So don't give me something that I didn't ask for. Speak to what we did ask for. And it has insulted Black people that Asians did not march one goddamn block. They didn't even come out their damn house. And they got a whole protection bill. I'm just saying. So that was the reason why I didn't. If anybody was running on the Republican side, aside from Trump, I would be voting for them. Probably, maybe they would have my attention. But people are standing up to vote against him. They're not voting for Kamala Harris or Biden. They're voting against him because he's a catastrophe. And if he had an ounce of care for America, he would do the same thing that Biden just did. Step your ass back. Give somebody else. I mean,
we don't want Vance
down there in Florida.
All right, we're gonna come back. We're gonna come back and Dante, hold your thought because I see it. After this commercial, you got the full keys to the car. Hold on 1 second.
I'm Patty Hewitt, and I'm worried about our future.
Last one.
I think about my grandkids and the belief that they deserve every opportunity. And what you deserve, what Coastal Georgia deserves, is someone who cares more about their community than about corporate profits and big pharma.
I'll see you later.
All right, thank you. Small business owners and hardworking Georgians are the heart of our community.
Have a good day.
Not CEOs, not lobbyists, not shareholders, but who's taking care of them? It's time to ask yourself, what do you want from your government? This is our year to stand up against what we know is wrong. No more DC politicians invading our home life. No more racism that kills dreams and spreads violence. And no more corporate greed at the expense of workers' rights and our environment.
So what would be the most meaningful help to you?
I've spent the last 8 years working behind the scenes, mobilizing our communities for positive change. And while that is really important work, I can't stand by and allow the same tired politicians to run this country, the same ones who've neglected the real needs of Georgians. I'm ready to take our seat in Congress so I can fight for you and your families.
I vote for you.
Thank you, my darling. I love you. This isn't about party lines. This is about voting for a better future for more Georgians. Enough is enough.
All right, Dante, go ahead. Take it away.
So I think when we talk about, let's start from the beginning. It is correct that the American people did not want Trump or Biden to run the cycle. That's a fact. What's also a fact is, guess what? People in both primaries went and voted for those two people to win their primaries. That's also a fact as well. And what's another fact is only one of those two people got paid to drop out of the race, i.e. Biden. So this whole notion that, Kamala Harris, I'm actually happy for Kamala Harris, and I hope that she do a very good job. I think she's going to be a better challenge than Joe Biden. But again, it's going to come down to the issues. I think her strong suit is going to be abortion. Republicans have not done a very good job on that abortion talking point. And honestly, they really need to educate people. It is now given to the states. You have some states that are so extreme, and you have some states that's very liberal. The only thing that the people can do right now is get involved and, change what's going on in your state. It might take some time, but you are the ones who hold the power. A lot of people they were surprised when Ohio went in a certain way when it came to abortion. So again, it is up to the power of the people. And guess what? People in Ohio are still going to vote Republican, but they don't agree with the Republican issues on abortion. So, it's giving back to the states, and that's what's very important, giving back to the people.
Well, and
But Dante, can I ask you a question?
Another thing I want to talk about. It's going to come down to another thing that's important. Kamala Harris right now has not done any interviews. We all know from following her from 2019 until present, she has flip-flopped on a lot of things. And people just started liking Kamala Harris a few weeks ago, because in 2024, a lot of people were saying bad things about her, not just Republicans or conservatives. There's a lot of Democrats that was talking bad about Kamala Harris, even saying that she was the one that was dragging down the ticket. And that was before June 27th. And now I find it funny, now everybody has amnesia about all the critical things that they once said about her. I think those things are still going to run true. And everything will be decided once her and Donald Trump are on the stage together, and the American people will be able to decide. Because again, she won't be able to run from her record or the things that she said, because they're going to come up. Just like how it's important for JD Vance past statements to come up, like the media is currently doing right now. A lot of the things that she has said is going to come up. That's why a lot of Democrats at first did not want her as the first choice. They all came following behind her. And then another thing, just for Democrats, she better pick Josh Shapiro.
He's going
to. I need to ask.
Hold on 1 second. Number one, she's going to get him alive. Number two, why in the world did Republicans go and open Pandora's box called Roe v. Wade? That was the dumbest thing. It was almost like Democrats running Biden, almost. But why open that box years ago? Leave it the hell alone. What's the point?
Exactly. Dante, that was going to be my question. Because let's say, y'all keep kicking the football saying, oh, well, the states have the power now and blah, blah, blah. No. What if the states, what if they told, because that we were not always given our equal rights to vote, our rights to, be one whole person under the Constitution. Mm-hmm. So what if, under this conservative Supreme Court, they said, okay, we're going to give the power back to the states to determine whether they want Black people to be whole people or not, or just 1/4, or if they want women to vote, or if they want Black people to vote. Because that every few years they have to pass a bill that says that we have the right to still vote. So what happens if they get it in their mind that they say, no, we're going to give that power back to the state? So then you have states like Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Texas, all of these red states saying, yeah, no, we don't want that. We don't want Black people to feel like they have that type of power. That's going to be a catastrophe. Just the same way them messing with Roe versus Wade is. When it was completed at the top, it's a federal law that we have the power to vote. We have our voting rights. But you kick it to a state, and they have overwhelmingly, right here in Texas, all there is a bunch of old ass white men running shit. So we can lose our rights any goddamn day. Y'all playing, but I'm so serious.
No, I know you are.
Just think about it.
So when it comes, I mean, I don't think the Republicans should have touched Roe versus Wade. I really don't. But, you know, even when it comes to voting rights and trying to take Black people down this whole extreme of the things that's going to happen back, what happened in the 1950s, I think is a little bit dangerous. No rights is being taken away. No, our civil rights is not being taken away. It is easy to vote in the state of Georgia right now. There is nothing that's holding us back. Again, if we wait to the last minute to do a lot of things, that's what's normally affecting us, and not even coming out to understand some of these laws that's being affected. Because if you actually did read Bill 202, the Georgia law, nothing in it stopped. It actually gave some more days. And Georgia law is better than Delaware's own state law when it comes to voting. So there are some states, Alabama was a little bit extreme, so I'm not going to sit up here and be naive. And they had to go to the Supreme Court and they had to say that what Alabama was doing was unconstitutional. So I'm not naive in there. But to say on a massive note that everybody in our union is going to the extreme, no. Please stop counting some of the crazy Lindsey Grahams. Hold on, I'm not done yet, Robert. Stop counting the crazy Lindsey Grahams, that stupid congressman from Tennessee who called Kamala Harris a DEI, and some other radical members of the Republican Party. Like, stop making that the focal point of the entire Republican Party, because it would be unfair for the Republicans to do that about AOC for the entire Democratic Party or anybody else. So you can't just do that, because majority of the Republican Party are moderates. If you ask a lot of Republicans, they will tell you straight up that they like Donald Trump policies. They just don't like the man. And we can all agree with that. And honestly, I want him to be a little bit more presidential. I thought after the assassination attempt would have changed him. It seemed it only happened for 48 hours, and then he went back to. I'm sorry, it did. It did. He could not help himself. He was losing the media attention, and he probably couldn't even process everything that was going on. But all jokes aside, we need to stop doing these over extreme things to make people get out and go vote. Yes, it is important to go vote, but voting rights are not being taken away. We do have checks and balances where there are some honest judges from both parties that don't get a lot of credit that stop a lot of this nonsense down at the local levels, down at the appellate levels. So yeah, you do have some radicals, but please, there's always checks and balances for everything. We need to stop trying to jump to the extreme, everything. And if we are talking about women's rights, because I think that's it's very important to talk about women's rights. Let's talk about how some of the immigrants that are women and children that's coming into our border being sold into sex slaves. And we're not even talking about that, which is really the civil rights issue, but nobody's trying to really put a focal point on that issue. Like, we're not even talking about the drugs that's going on or being put across our border. Take politics out of it, because none of this stuff is going to the rich, wealthy neighborhoods. It's going back to the Black and brown communities. These people that's going to stay in our communities, Black people, right? If y'all really want to jump to some extreme, the real extreme is these people who's trying to keep these illegal immigrants into our country. They're going to turn them into voting blocks. And the majority that Black people had when it came to being the minority, we won't have that status anymore. And all of our issues that we are still trying to quote unquote fight for is going to get pushed down underneath the immigrants, underneath the Asians, all the way down at the bottom. And then, I hate to say this, and I hope no one take it the wrong way, we do need to have a serious conversation about abortion. So I'm not trying to say anything to that effect about it. Hold on for 1 second. We do need to have a serious conversation about abortion, but we also need to talk about adoption reform. We also need to talk about surrogacy. We also need to talk about IVF. Like, those are serious conversations that we do have where people do not go and turn to abortion. And if I'm one of those people who think that if a woman's life is in danger, then yes, we need to have a serious conversation. We need to talk about healthcare in this country as well, because just because that baby has come into this world, we need to make sure that that baby can take care of themselves, and so is the mother. So I know that there's a bigger conversation that's going on, but we can't even worry about having a baby when our community is being overrun by people that shouldn't even belong here, that people's getting resources and benefits that Black people are still trying to get, and we keep trying to turn a blind eye, and we get upset because the orange man said murderers, rapers, and people are coming to our country. I mean, tell me what part is not true. Are you mad at the message?
Well, I agree with you on that. Yeah. But what happened when the Native Americans say the white man came and raped the Black people and the Native Americans?
Well,
so about real immigration reform. I want to see all the Native Americans around the table. because it was
Yeah.
the people that look like Donald Trump that raped all these people of color. So
Exactly.
let's be real about it now. Let's be
Okay,
real.
let's be
But
real
I
about
want to
that.
talk about policy
Now-
because you're right. At the end of the day, I think, regardless of what side you vote on, at the end of the day, the Black community, our Black media, is about looking at how the Black community is being impacted. So I think you're exactly right. I definitely want to talk about policy. And as we talk about policy, one of the things that affect our community is poverty, access, and definitely women's rights. I think the Black woman has been the most disrespected human being on the planet, but they have been the ones who've been the backbone of this damn country, if you want my frank opinion. So policy. Why can't our leaders come? And I agree with you, Dante. You got the AOCs and you got Marjorie Greene, Bad Bill, Butch Body. You know, we got the extremes. Why can't we have the people like former Senator, the late John McCain and John Kerry's of the world, who will come to the center of the aisle, and you don't get everything you wanted, but you could negotiate and compromise. What happened to that? What happened to that?
Well,
You
that
do have
left.
that. They just don't get that much attention. I mean, I'm not somebody who supported everything in the infrastructure bill, but guess what? It was still something that both came together and got it through the lines. A lot of the people that are moderates, they don't get that much attention because, you know, two politicians arguing with each other about stupid things that gets more ratings, that gets more sales, that gets more people into it. We do have moderates on both sides who try to get a lot of things, but you know, Kamala Harris calling Donald Trump a convicted felon, Donald Trump calling Kamala Harris a bum. That gets more attention versus, you know, Israel, what's going on in the war with Israel. I mean, we have a low attention span to really focus on the important things. You know, regardless, forget about what they say when they come on TV. I normally go look up how these people vote. That's what's mainly important.
Yeah.
They vote, and not just yes or no, because some of them don't even vote. Like, they didn't even show up to vote. Like, and that's important. Some of them don't even have a voting record at all. And if you are involved with it, like I'm involved with it, you'll really learn that these politicians don't even read the bills. They go off of talking points.
And you know what, Dante? Getting back to your point on immigration, I said back in, want to say it was 2009 or 2010 when they was creating that DACA program. Y'all remember that?
Yeah.
And I said, I don't understand how somebody can break into your house illegally. And then once they stay in your house for 4 or 5 years without being detected or arrested. And then you say, oh, okay, because you was able to successfully not be detected, we're going to give you an illegal, the pathway to just stay here. You would never do that in your own home. So why are you doing that in your country? The minute that somebody crosses over to China, they already on the damn phone saying, hey, we saw Dante. Watch Dante and make sure that Dante get his ass out of here in the 10 days that he was supposed to be here. And if he's not, he will be arrested. And if he do anything, spit on the ground, anything, we gonna arrest him. But the United States is the only place you can go. You can be free. You can piss on the floor. You can do whatever you want. And then they're going to try to say, oh, well, you know, since I don't believe that women that get over here illegal and then drop a baby, and just because they drop the baby over here, you know, because that's the first thing that the illegals want to do is have a baby. So that the baby is a legal. No, all of y'all illegal. All of y'all are illegal. And when we catch you, we're going to put all of y'all on a ship and send y'all asses back wherever, you know. So, Dante, that's where I part with the Democrats, because no, we have too many problems at home for us to be trying to take care of. And I live in Texas, where the majority language is damn Spanish.
Really?
Over like 50%, right?
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. It's Spanish and Igbo. That's Nigerian.
Yeah.
Nigeria.
'Cause I know Tree is from Ghana. Ghanaian.
So really, English speaking Americans are at a disadvantage. And here I am, I'm all the way over here in Houston. I'm not even next to the border, but I'm impacted by everything that goes on at the border, because when they come over here and they are doing all kind of atrocities over here in Houston, the first thing that they do is get back to that damn border, get over the border, and they, you know, and they get gone.
And they out. Yeah.
And they out. You know, if they hit you in their car, they are not going to stop. I promise you. That's why our insurances are the highest in the nation.
Wow.
In Texas. You know, so we are impacted. And I was very happy when Trump, I mean, if he wasn't the asshole he is, I would have voted for him the first time.
He is an asshole. I mean, I can't deny
Because of the fact that he was talking my language when he said, I'm going to build, you know, I didn't believe him when he said that Mexico was going to pay for any goddamn thing, but I was with him when he said we've been needing to reform immigration for decades. Decades. Yeah. But no, I mean, what did he do? I need to know, what did you do, Trump, for us to give you, just like Biden, what did you do for us to give you a second term?
I will say this.
This would be a second term.
I want to say this. And people, what I want people to stop saying, though, for real, in defense of Donald Trump, stop saying the man is dumb. The man is actually brilliant. He's brilliant.
Really?
Brilliant. People, he
ain't brilliant enough to lead an insurrection.
Sometimes people take his arrogance, but the man is brilliant. If you could sit there and commit that many crimes and still run for president, he's a little smart. I'm sorry. And the man, here's the thing, Chandra. People don't understand this. He's business savvy. You got to give the man credit. I tell people all the time, if you want to learn how to run a business and get the tax breaks, it's right there in black and white. He just happens to know the rules. He knows the rules. I think people get mad because he knows the rules. And now the one thing I will say, because I'm kind of like Trump in the fact that I don't watch my mouth all the time, but he just says what he wants to say. And he knows the rules, and people don't understand that. And when you don't understand something, you walk into this fearful thing.
But sir, I mean, I don't know how many people have dealt with Jehovah's Witnesses. I have. Okay, I've dealt with Jehovah's Witnesses, and it's a cult. Okay, let me just say it pure and simple. It is definitely a cult. My mother was in it all of my life, and people like him, he's not business savvy. Because if he was business savvy, there's no way that his daddy could have left him $400 million. And he has failed every business that he has entered into. He is just one of those. He's one of those people that can get you to follow him, just like Jim Jones back in the 70s. I was around, y'all wasn't, but I know y'all read the history books of what Jim Jones did. And we still have people functioning like that right now in 2024, somewhere in Utah. There is a cult with a bunch of little girls getting married right goddamn now. And nobody seems to think that nothing's wrong with that. Okay? So we have to be careful of the people that we empower to say they are our leaders, because this is how Hitler, nobody believed that Hitler was going to, everybody's just drinking their little hot toddies, and
Right.
nobody believed that Hitler was going to commit the infamous atrocities on humankind that he did. But if you can get a group, just like the group of people that ransacked the Capitol on January the 6th, if you can get a few more of them, come on now, Dante, for real.
All
Am
right,
I
well,
lying?
all right.
If you
Well,
get a few more of them, you can change the direction of any country.
all right. All right. So we're going to play this clip real quick. And after the clip, y'all's closing statements, we just want 1 minute. Closing statements will be based on this clip. Here we go.
The new race for the White House heats up between former President Trump and Vice President Harris, a new group of battleground state polls showing just how tight the race is. Trump and Harris tied in Michigan and Pennsylvania, Trump inside the margin of error with a 1-point lead in Wisconsin, and Harris leading Trump in Minnesota by 6 points outside the margin of error. The vice president improving on President Biden's battleground standings before he left the race.
Hello, Bitcoiners.
The former president stumping for support in Nashville today at a Bitcoin conference.
Laying out my plan to ensure that the United States will be the crypto capital of the planet.
Talking up cryptocurrency, but also blasting his competitor for the White House.
She's a radical left lunatic.
That after a Friday night speech hitting Vice President Harris on the Biden administration's border policy.
Millions of people crossing, and she was the border czar. Now they're trying to say she never was the border czar.
Trump, for the first time this weekend, not wearing a bandage on his wounded ear. The FBI late Friday clarifying that the former president was in fact hit by a bullet or fragments from a bullet 2 weeks ago.
It was
The Republican
fragments.
nominee also announcing on social media that he will continue to do outdoor rallies. Vice President Harris also on the campaign trail this weekend, headlining an 800-guest fundraiser in Massachusetts, raising more than $1 million, according to a campaign official.
And ours is a fight for the future. And it is a fight for freedom.
Harris also sending a recorded message to the Gen Z-led Voters of Tomorrow Summit in Atlanta.
And we know your vote cannot be taken for granted. It must be earned, and that is exactly what we will do.
Lester, tonight here in St. Cloud, Minnesota, Donald Trump and his running mate, J.D. Vance, are rallying supporters in this 6,000-seat arena. This is a state that hasn't gone Republican for...
All right. Let's get your last 1 minute comment. Dante, we'll start with you and we'll end with Chandra.
So one, I'll start with the crime thing that Bobby, that you said about Trump being convicted. Kamala Harris said this in her book. America has a deep and dark history of people using the power of the prosecutor as an instrument of injustice. That's funny how that's exactly what they're doing to Donald Trump right now, because all the court cases that has gone up against him, people already knew that he was going to eventually be convicted of one of them, just so the political strategy can be to run against a convicted felon. I think a lot of people are smarter than that not to fall for what they were planning to do in 2023. When we talk about presidential, I will concede that Donald Trump, he does not act presidential. There are moments that he should have exceeded above the limit, to be honest with you. COVID was one of them. George Floyd's death was one of them. He has not hit that moment, but I hope that he will eventually one day. When it comes to business savvy, he's not. He's okay, I'll say that. But guess what? His name is marketable, and that's what sells. That the Trump name sells. So I think you have to give him some credit for that. It's again, everything's going to come down to policy. Once both of them are on the debate stage and we're talking about policy, I don't think it's going to work in Kamala Harris' favor. When we talk about the vice presidential debate, J.D. Vance, I think that's not going to work in his favor too, because he has said some offensive stuff that's coming back to haunt him right now. And again, I said it earlier, hopefully the VP can pick Josh Shapiro. I think that will be a stronger candidate. He looks like a big threat. I do think Trump is going to carry Arizona, and I also think he's going to carry Georgia. So Mark Kelly, you don't want to give up that Senate seat. I'm just being serious. They don't want to give up that Senate seat. They should be smart about it. I think they should not put all their hands in the basket in the state of Georgia because if Stacey Abrams couldn't win it, no offense to AKA, to my mama's AKA, I don't think AKA will be able to carry it either. Especially if Brian Kemp, which I seriously doubt, if Brian Kemp goes out and campaigns for Donald Trump, Democrats definitely will not win this state, but I don't think Brian Kemp will.
I
do not think that Brian Kemp is going to go out and do anything for him. No. But I can say this, that I think that the momentum that Kamala Harris has gotten in the last few days is based on the fact that younger people who's going to carry this vote, actually, people between the ages of 18 and 40, they're tired of these old ass white men. They're tired of them. You know, they're not speaking our language anymore. They're speaking the old language of the Jim Crow South, you know, and if they want to win our votes, they need to start speaking to us instead of, you know, sending dog whistles. I mean, his base will always just be all these radical, racist, hillbilly NASCAR watchers. You know, he's never going to increase his base saying the things that he's saying. But if he wants to get people with substance to back him, like people with me, I have 2 master's degrees, okay, and my PhD. So he's never going to get me just insulting a black woman. You know, I mean, he's not going to get me. But if they were to put somebody younger, more intelligent, that could speak to the public, I promise you, the Republican race would turn around in a minute.
All right.
But y'all are they're too afraid to do it because of him.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll be back next time. We'll see you on our Black Media on the Political Spectrum.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank y'all.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we love you, Chandra. Come back.
I love you.
Like this.